Hello, everybody. How are you doing? This is Damon. I hope everyone's well on their hand. On this channel, since I decided I wanted to, the reason I opened up a YouTube account is basically I want to talk about movies, talk about entertainment in terms of music, talk about TV shows, wrestling, even books. So we can talk about those different avenues. I'm open to all five those topics and nothing more on this one. So I just want to talk about entertainment, so basically about quality of shows, basically all those shows, the quality of those shows, how do you like those shows, what do you think will be improve those shows, and basically just making lists. I mean, I thought for an icebreaker for you guys, I thought a great way to start would be not just talk about movies, would be talking about here the top 50 bad guys in movies. I mean, in movies, we have great movies, outstanding movies, basically that exist. And the art of a great story, the art of a great movie is a great story. And yes, it's a great protagonist, but also we really need a great bad guy. So here's my top 50 list of what the great bad guys, in my opinion, the 50 top bad guys in movies are. So I have some, and I just thought about some honorable mentions. For example, Jack Torrance in The Shining. I know, many people might be surprised that Jack Torrance is here because not because Jack Torrance doesn't rock in this movie, but because I personally am not a great fan of The Shining. I know, right? I mean, The Shining is supposed to be basically a beacon of cinema, but honestly, I thought the movie, just like a lot of Stanley Kubrick movies, can be a bit too long and honestly a bit too pretentious. When you take 10 minutes to land an established shot of an hallway rather than 2 minutes, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. Take note from also from many movies, 2021, 2022. Just because you can make it 2 hours, 40 minutes doesn't make it great. Sometimes can we keep movies in general from 1 hour 40 to 2 hours, 20 minutes? Have that sweet time there. Thank you. Now, another honorable mention would be Verbal Kint in Usual Suspects. And that's all that comes to mind. Probably I'm gonna have some other honorable mention in my head, and you can drop him, mention some other uh, movie bad guys that maybe I didn't mention. But number 50, surprisingly, Mugatu and Zoolander. Yes, it's Will Ferrell. Yes, he's hilarious. Yes, nonsensical. But at the same time, at the heart of this seems to be a guy who's convinced he's a genius because he created the piano tie, and he's using that one fact to justify everything he does. And it's Will Ferrell. It's nonsensical, but it's hilarious. So yeah. Number 49, Shooter McGavin, another comedy in Happy Gilmore. Yes, it's a comedy. Yes, I'm entertained by it. Uh, what can I say? When I was a kid, when I watched Happy Gilmore, I was more entertained by Happy Gilmore's antics, but the more I grow up, well, I'm grown up now, but the more as an adult, I feel like Shooter McGavin's character is even more hilarious. He's a man baby who can't believe that a guy like Happy Gilmore exists and takes part in his golf. There's something hilarious about somebody feeling threatened by a newcomer like this, like so much, like he makes sure to make Happy Gilmore's life a living hell, and he doesn't need to. If anything, he gets his own way, and he gets come up as the end because of his own self. Okay, 47, sorry, 48. Clarence from RoboCop. Many people know Clarence basically as Kurtwood Smith from that 70s show as Red Foreman, and I know him as that too. But RoboCop to me is his greatest movie performance. He plays a cold, calculating, menacing, and mercenary, and the way he's responsible for the creation of RoboCop is still terrifying, even for a movie in the 80s. Now, 47, Dr. Evil, Austin Powers, the first one. Let's be honest, who's more intriguing in that movie, Austin Powers or Dr. Evil? Who's hilarious? Who steals the show every time? It's Dr. Evil. He's a parody of James Bond villain, and I love him for that. And I find it funny. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it, but I find it funny that in the end, I thought a lot of a James Bond movie got inspired by Dr. Evil by afterwards. But you know why. If you watch the movies, you know why. Okay, 46. I really wanted to put a Tim Burton character in the movie. Tim character. I wanted to put a Tim character. I wanted to put a Tim Burton character, man, sorry, into this list. And since it is from Tim Burton's character and from the same series, I cannot afford to basically put him in two spots. I put him in on tie. So there's Penguin from Batman Returns, played by Danny DeVito, and there's the Joker, played by Jack Nicholson from Batman '89. Both of them are excellent villains. Joker, I thought, was the second best Joker there's ever been in movies, live action. Don't get me for Mark Hamill. From live action, I think is the second best. I mean, there's some lines that are still iconic to this day, and you haven't learned that. Have you ever heard of the healing power of laughter? Still makes me laugh. So he's hilarious and scary. I mean, the transformation with the mirror thing is still scary. It's Tim Burton, though. Danny DeVito's Penguin feels like a tragic figure who never really had a shot. He's a bad guy, but never really had a shot. It's like from the get-go, the way the movie starts. And I know there were Happy Meals. I grew up during that time. There were Happy Meals, and when you're a kid, by the way, you realize why was there like a kid me was saying 1 week after the movie ended, how come there's no more Batman Returns Happy Meals back? Little did I know. But anyway, I feel like Danny DeVito, when he's blackmailing Max Schreck, is at his best. And then there's some dialogues from him that didn't age as well. Let's just say that. 45, Mr. Anderson, the first Matrix. Here's a character who believes that he's the cure for this world, who believes he has to clear off any other program, and one gets rid of people like Neo, and he wants to use people as batteries. I mean, it seems simple, but then you go weaving, make it very beautiful, very complex, well, beautifully complex, and makes this character much more sinister than he could have been on paper. So, 44, Mr. Joshua, Lethal Weapon. To me, he's my personal favorite character of the Lethal Weapon series. And yeah, Gary Busey really knows how to play a good bad guy. That's what I'm going to say about that. Number 43, John Kreese from Karate Kid. First one. Why? Because I think there's something terrifying about somebody with that baggage who becomes a karate instructor and uses his baggage that doesn't belong to anybody else but him. He tries to inflict it on his students. Like he wants them to fight, basically, in a way, fight his battles. Kind of like basically like, okay, if I turn him like me, maybe in his, and at the same time, I feel like looking back, it's like in his screwed up way, it's like feeling like if I prepare them that way, maybe they won't have to deal with the problems I've gotten. When in reality, as you learn in Cobra Kai, but way too late. I mean, way too late for him, that is. His philosophy is not the way to go. He took something that you're right was disastrous and he amplified it and went to rather than basically take his trauma and deal with it, he went to 11 with it and unravel it on everybody else. So that's this. 42, Lotso from Toy Story 3. There's some Pixar villains there. Lotso seems to be warm-hearted, basically very welcoming at first of the new toys of Woody and Buzz and his gang. But then we find out what he really is about. He's not what it seems to be. So, also, next one. 41, John Kramer, Saw 3. The whole series is about John Kramer. And you take somebody who's sick, physically and mentally, and I mean, he's part of the twist, the first one, but it's the fact of what always intrigued me about this series was every time he talked, hearing more about his philosophy, to me were the best scenes of the whole series. When you heard John Kramer talk. It might be a horror series, but to me, those are the best scenes when you hear about his philosophy. Okay, how he truly believes he's not a killer. He tries to rehabilitate people when it's not the case. There's something very worrying, and there's something very, very sinister, but also sometimes there's a person who's trying to legitimately better everybody else, who's literally trying to improve the quality of life of his victims and trying to basically make them more grateful. But the way he gets to this is not it's how he delivers that. And how basically he thinks he's done a murderer, but sometimes he might make those games beyond difficult to beat. So yeah, now we're reaching the top of 40. 40 will be General Zod from Man of Steel. Yes, Terrell Stamp played a great General Zod, but I felt this moment that's a bit cartoony or more cheesy, whereas General Zod from Michael Shannon seems to be relentless, unwavering, and there's a guy who will not stop until he achieves his goal. He did this with Krypton, and he intends to do this with Kal-El on Earth. And even when he's about to lose, he didn't lose his resolve. There's something about that. Now, let's go to 39. 39, Commodus from Gladiator. I thought I would put Arthur Flex as Joker, but let's be honest. Joker Folie à no. That can't. To me, I'd rather just say there's not been a Joker 2, there's just been Joker 1. But regardless, let's go Commodus. Commodus, Gladiator. I mean, here's a spool entitled. I'm trying to find this. A spool entitled Psychopath who thinks that basically the city belongs to him. Basically, Rome belongs to him. That he will be the emperor of Rome. But he lacks all the compassion, all the qualities his father has, he doesn't. And he's not a warrior. He never seen the inside of a battlefield. He never did. So, but the moment they basically he resents Maximus because Maximus has something that he never will, and that is his father's respect. So that leads to him snapping, but at the same time, you have no sympathy for him. So that's for 39. 38, 38, Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor from Superman, the movie. Gene Hackman played a very funny, cynical, and narcissistic Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor, who could be very dangerous when he applied his mind to it, but had to surround himself with psychics because despite the fact he's annoyed by them, you can tell he needs those guys because to make him feel better. Lex Luthor by himself would be plagued by insecurities, and the fact that he has psychics to him enables him to not have to deal with those insecurities. So, 37, sorry. Again, a comic book movie. Green Goblin from Spider-Man in 2002. Sure, some of the effects of that movie might have not aged as well, but I felt like Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin to this day is still one of my favorite characters. At least one of my favorite villains. Why? Because here's a guy who didn't seem to be all there, but wasn't that bad until he lost his company. Granted, you can understand why he would feel very alienated from his own company. I mean, he's the one who built it, who probably sacrificed a lot. But at the same time, it's like he didn't take the hint that he wasn't doing well mentally, and it was affecting him very badly. And that, I mean, was already strange uh, from his son Harry Osborn at that time, and that caused him loss of his company, caused him to snap. So yeah. And even then, when he discovered at the end that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, you could see it as a brief moment of remorse. He doesn't want to continue on the battle until Spider-Man admits that he doesn't want to join him, regardless of the discovery. And then it's like the psychopath went back in his head. So that's 37. 36, Ty from Disney classic movies, Scar from Lion King, and Jafar from Aladdin. I couldn't decide which one of them, and I didn't want them to since I didn't want them to use two spots. Scar, played by the voice of Jeremy Irons, I thought was delightfully evil. I mean, there was no end to his evil reign there, and whereas Jafar, I mean, we all talk about Robin Williams as Genie, and yes, he's the best part of the movie, but let's not sleep on Jafar. Jafar, his voice commanded attention. The moment he came in the room, well, I know it's anime, but still, you knew he was evil. You knew he had evil intentions, and you know he was greedy for power. So to me, in terms of life of animated classic from Disney, those are the two best bad guys of Disney. So yeah, 36, Terrence Fletcher from Whiplash. J.K. Simmons brilliant, played brilliantly a psychopathic teacher who used any means necessary to get the results he wanted. He would bully the students, he would physically intimidate them, he would physically arm them, would throw chairs at students, and never saw himself as a problem. In fact, the one thing he thought was problematic is that say good job to somebody. Like he never considered himself once in his life that maybe he's the problem. Maybe he's the problem. No, that is a troubling character, a troubled person. And by the message of the movie is basically saying he's very, very like well, more disturbed. He's more than disturbed and disturbing. But it's also do did the main character benefit from his teachings or didn't he? That's up to you if you watch a movie, okay? I don't want to ruin. I think it's a fantastic movie, but it's also something that you watch once and you're not gonna watch again right away. It's not gonna be rewatchable right away. You're gonna rewatch it maybe a year later, but not right away. Now, so that was 35. 34 is L Driver from Kill Bill. I want to say Bill at first, then I realized he's kind of sympathetic. There's moment that's like, okay, he's a bad guy, but honestly, he's not. He kind of has some redeeming qualities, whereas L Driver doesn't. She's a mercenary, hit for hire. She poisoned and killed her own sensei. I mean, what else should she do? She has no qualm about killing off her business partner, Bill's brother, and participated in Bride's basically ambush that basically made her basically to be what is this? Made her who she is. Made her a person hell-bent on revenge. So I don't think El Driver has many redeeming qualities. Daryl Anna played her to perfection. And from one hit to for hour to another one, we have 33, Vincent from Collateral. Tom Cruise played against type, and I thought was excellent that role. I mean, he was intriguing when they basically discussed the difference in philosophy with uh, with Jamie Foxx's Max. And throughout the movie, at least the first two-thirds, I felt like he's very protective of Max. He tries to incite him to better his life. He offers him advice about his work, about his love life, his ambitions. Only to find out in the last act that quite frankly it's all an act. I mean, and then this like it forces Max to stand up for himself. He seems to haven't. He didn't seem to stand up for his job. Didn't stand up for himself to his family. It kind of forced him to stand counter, as sad as it is to mention. It forces him to stand up for himself and to fight for what he believes in his own heart is right. So that's for number 33. 32, Khan Singh from Star Trek 2. That's the best. Star Trek 2 Wrath of Khan is still my favorite Star Trek movie. It's the one Star Trek movie that you don't need to see the series, the movies to actually like or understand. Sometimes it's are the best movies. The ones that you can, if you watch the first ones, cool. But if you start right now, that's also as well. You can go back and rewatch the other ones, and you don't feel like you're left out of the conversation. So, Khan in Star Trek 2, or Khan, as Captain T. Kirk would say, is a fantastic villain. I mean, Ricardo Montalban played him very well, and Here's a guy who has no qualms into killing off a planet if it means his goals will be fulfilled. I mean, it led to Spock sacrifice himself at the end. So it was a very entertaining movie and a great performance from Ricardo Montalban as Khan. 31, Syndrome from Incredibles. To me, it's very intriguing to see that that one of my top bad guys started out as a superhero sidekick who felt spurned by Mr. Incredibles. But in his mind, he used this kind of distortion to think that maybe he was spurned because Mr. Incredibles rejected him, whereas he really actually rejected him because Mr. Incredibles does have superpowers, whereas Syndrome does not. Syndrome was a kid and also liability and a danger to himself. So he rejected him for the right reasons. But Syndrome basically distorted as a reason to maybe hate Mr. Incredibles and became a psychopath, a villain that wanted to basically, because he doesn't have actual superpowers, wanted to create superpower of his own to make sure that nobody would be super, and to take care maybe of superheroes by himself as well. I thought was very, very well done. Number 30, Amy Dunn from Gone Girl. This one, I will not give you the description because if I do, I'm giving you the movie. Go watch this. Amy Dunn, Gone Girl, 30. 29, Might Be an Anti-Hero, Tyler Durden, Fight Club. Again, you need to watch the movie, but basically Tyler Durden is what happens when you let maybe your worst thoughts, so basically your worst thought take control of you. I know we know the twist, so basically, yeah, but that's taking the worst aspect of yourself and letting them reign free. So that's where this. 28, Patrick Bateman in American Psycho. Again, when the worst enemy is basically yourself in that case, that in those movies, it's like the worst enemy or the bad guy in the movie is themselves. Patrick Bateman is a guy who is a psychopath who has no qualm about getting rid of anybody who he believes might threaten his perception of himself. He's ready to get rid of somebody because they had a better business card than him, or just a bit better colored. Rather than decided, hey, you know what? I'll get myself a new card. I'll make myself a new business card. No. Never does it occur to him they could get another one. No. He gets rid of the evidence. Wink, wink. Christian Bale played him absolutely well. 27, Vulture, Spider-Man Homecoming. Why? Well, we already have one Batman in Christian Bale being one of the bad guys. Why not have another Batman playing a bad guy? Michael Keaton. And it dawns on me that the irony of this is played Batman, played Birdman, played Vulture. All of them played a superhero without powers. An actor who plays a superhero and, well, plays an actor that plays an actor who's a superhero. And then we got a villain with no powers, superpowers as well. All of them fly, by the way. All of them based on flying animals. Must it be basically this, like, hey, we gotta get Batman, we're gonna get Michael Keaton in a movie where he plays a superhero. You know what? We should get him to play a flying animal. He did in DC, he did in MCU, and he did it for Birdman. Again, for Vulture is the fact what's intriguing. He's everything that Bruce Wayne isn't, or at least it's what Bruce Wayne would have been if he allowed himself to be on the other side. Sure, Bruce Wayne is rich. Vulture seems to be a guy who still has lots of mean, but he's not rich like Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is alone apart from Alfred, whereas Vulture has his own family. Bruce Wayne's incorruptible, and this guy is corruptible, but at the same time, he seems to. It's not like he enjoys doing crimes, but he wants to do it to better his life and his family's life and his friends, his work friends' life. He doesn't want to rule the world per se. He just wants all of them to be doing well, all his loved ones to be doing well. So when Spider-Man arrives and tries basically kind of interferes in his business, he saw it personally. He took it personally, and basically when he met Spider-Man. At first, he was intent on just warning him not to get involved in his business, and he let it and to let that slide, but to not interfere anymore. And we all know what happened there. So, I mean, I really thought a superhero movie would end with us with of supervillain saying, "Hey, stop it." Okay, that'd be kind of lame. But yeah, great performance. Another superhero movie, 26, Magneto, X-Men 2. Sir Ian McKellen. I know Michael Fassbender made a great performance, but I prefer Sir Ian McKellen's performance. In this case, it seems like a guy who was a victim of prejudice and crimes toward him and toward his family. He lets that define him. He doesn't in this he doesn't seem to understand that not everybody was as tolerant as his persecutors. He applied what he learned there to everybody, just like John Kreese in a way. They take one experience and then generalize it across everybody else's. And despite all that, he still has a lot of respect, admiration, and dare I say, a friendship, a loving friendship with Professor X, despite the fact they vehemently disagree on this. He's very intriguing, very complex, and he's very powerful. He can manipulate metal. So, 25, Alonzo Harris, Training Day. Denzel Washington played a great bad guy in that movie. Over the course of one day, he starts to be very inviting, very welcoming of Ethan Hawke's character, but by the end of the day, it's like he's trying to get him to do everything corrupted. Basically, trying to corrupt him to either A, bring him to his side, or B, get him transferred to another police station. Basically, he wants to get away with what he does. And it doesn't work. 24, Biff Tannen from Back to the Future 2. I didn't say the first one, because the first one is more goofy, and the second one is a psychotic person. And the part is, it's all Marty McFly's doing. If the guy wasn't intent on trying to get rich by taking the almanac back to his time, that would never happen. So that's a proof, basically a lesson that if you were to go back in time and you try to change things for the better, you might actually change it for the worse. So that's for this. 23. That was a Robert Zemeckis movie. Another one, Judge Doom, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Christopher Lloyd went from Doc Brown, very eccentric yet sympathetic character, to Judge Doom, who's a psychopath, to say the least. And rewatching that movie, it's like the twist at the end, it's like you could see it. There's a lot of signs that you didn't see beforehand. When you watch it, you see, oh, that sign, yeah, that makes sense there. I felt was ahead of its time, and to me, it's the best movie that mixes live action and animated. So animated movies. So yeah, I thought that movie mixed both well. So together, we'll go for number 22, Norman from Leon the Professional. Gary Oldman played a psychotic cop who murders Natalie Portman's family. That's not a spoiler. Okay, it just happened in the beginning. So yeah, and she befriends Leon, and both of them each other. One of them teaches her, Leon teaches her how to pull off hits, and she teaches him how to read. But Norman, it's basically in that movie, it's basically the equivalent of a corrupt cop will stop at nothing to get what he wants. And Gary Oldman plays a great bad guy. So that's like I said about this. 21. It's a tie. Bane from The Dark Knight Rises or Ra's al Ghul from Batman Begins. All of them are equally as compelling. Bane is the most physical, menacing villain to me in any live action Batman movie. Tom Hardy plays him to perfection. I mean, yeah, the voice, but it's also it felt like he could have ended Batman at any time he wanted. He could have basically succeeded in his plan at any time he wanted. But he's very organized. He's not like the Joker. He's not about basically, he's not chaotic. He's more about order through pain and through suffering. So it's a very different villain than the Dark Knight, and I love it for so. As far as Ra's al Ghul felt like a guy who left humanity a long time ago when he lost his great love. And when he talked about League of Shadow, it kind of makes me feel like it felt like that movie, like he was really trying the League of Shadow just erase everything that's about humanity. Like taking away basically, yeah, placing logic ahead of anything like humanity, reason, or basically, empathy. There was no empathy in this. It was just cold, harsh fear. Cold, harsh fear, cold, harsh uh, destruction. That's how it felt for me. As far as 20, number 20, Salieri from Amadeus. Huh. Not the only Milos Forman movie on that list. Salieri was played by F. Murray Abraham. This was a movie that I felt was very, very good. And it played here into Salieri's dangerous jealousy toward Mozart. Salieri was in real life, of course, they had no problem. But in that piece was it was based on a theater play, which was adapted in a movie. But that movie, it felt like Salieri hated Mozart for many reasons. One of which is every time Salieri made a good player, good music, Mozart would nail it out of the park. Mozart had better talent than Salieri, and also he felt that Mozart never appreciated talent he had. He never appreciated and acted like a buffoon. So that jealousy, that envy that he has for Mozart, as well as resentment towards this, it's very intriguing, that movie. So it's a very intriguing movie, but I felt like Salieri, F. Murray Abraham won Best Actor for that performance, and he well deserved too. So yeah. 19. I would say there's John Doe for 7, which if you he comes in halfway through the movie and I don't know what else to say about this. So he's very, very good. He's very psychotic, but you'll see why. And Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood. Daniel Day-Lewis plays a hell of a bad guy. I mean, I could basically say every scene that he's on is good. And some other actor, like Paul Dano, played 2 roles in that movie, but I feel like you take away Daniel Day-Lewis from the movie, it's just okay. So it's not like he won Best Actor for his role as Daniel Plainview, and I felt like it's not like There Will Be Blood. It's not the movie. Daniel Plainview is the movie. His character is the movie. Without him, the movie doesn't doesn't exist. So yeah. So now 18, Al Capone in Untouchable. So Robert De Niro in a Brian De Palma movie. I felt like this movie was still underrated. We don't talk that much about. We talk about another Brian De Palma movie that we're going to talk about afterwards. But this one we need to talk that much more about. Like Sean Connery with the performance of a lifetime. He played James Bond. He played here. He had as Maloney. I still maintain one of his best performances ever. I mean, Andy Garcia, Kevin Costner, and Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro plays a bad guy. Plays Al Capone, who appears to be understanding, to be calm, composed, the media, when he's anything but in private. And he wants to take care of basically Elliot's Ness group to get rid of the basically of the mafia who are thriving during the Prohibition era. Oh, so it's very, very like the cruelty of Al Capone knows no end in that movie. Let's say that. And like I said, going from one Brian De Palma movie to another. 17, Tony Montana as Scarface. Yes, he can be hilarious. Yes, he's quotable, but he's still the bad guy. I mean, all the crimes he committed, all the hits he did, the greed for success and power, and yet the little humanity he had did him in. So yeah. And again, from Al Pacino character to another one. 16, Michael Corleone from Godfather 2. I mean, in the first one, I didn't feel like it was a bad guy. He was basically, I'll say this. He was the recipient of everything that happened in his family. The second one, he chooses to be the bad guy. And you could see the contrast between Vito Corleone and Michael Corleone. Vito, what happens to him, his family, And he's tried to be, yeah, he's still a mobster. Yes, the head of a mob family, but he still tries to be understanding, tries to help people. He starts to be warm-hearted despite his area of work. Whereas Michael seems to be is about his own family, but not about anybody else's families. And it seems to be he needs to be cold-blooded, even throughout his own family if you don't agree with him. Again, I don't want to spoil it. See the movie. It's nearly 4 hours, though. I warn you. It's very good, but it's nearly 4 hours. I prefer Godfather 1. That's my opinion, but I'm not going to spoil you anything. Number 15, Eve Arrington from All About Eve. If you ever have an understudy, that could be a nightmare there. I mean, having an understudy, that could be, I'm sorry, that movie is a nightmare scenario. It's seeing somebody's understudy at first be nice to you, but afterwards try to do everything they can to surpass you and to undermine you. Eve Arrington does that in the movie. At first, she seems very mousy, very innocent, and then progressively you see her true nature that. So I know it's an older movie, but still not as good. Number 14, Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. I'll be honest, I like the movie, but I don't love it. I don't love it as many do, but I love this performance. I know Javier Bardem won Best Supporting Actor in 2007, from 2007. Won an Oscar for that role, and honestly, he was the most magnetic force of the whole movie. He was. It's like he was always one step ahead from everybody. The only time he suffered the consequences was at the end when he got shot in the shoulder, and even then he got away with this. He was one step ahead of Josh Brolin's character, of Tommy Lee Jones' character, of everybody else. So that's very fascinating for that. Number 13, Colonel Barnes, Tom Berenger's character from Platoon. Here's a guy who lets all his work as a soldier. He used that work as a soldier, all the good things there, but he tried to justify. Basically, this character, the Tom Berenger's character, used everything he learned during war, and it warped his psyche. And he became a deranged person who lived for war and let himself be. His character justified everything he did because in his mind, everything he did was right when it wasn't. It was right in the context of war in his mind, even though the fact it's not justifiable whether it's war or not. Okay. Number 12, the T-1000, Terminator 2. I mean, the first one was Arnold was the bad guy in the first one, first Terminator. And the second one, you think from the marketing, oh, Arnold's coming back as a bad guy, but now he's a big star, whatever. And then you see it's a reversal of role. Now Arnold's a good guy. T-1000 is the bad guy. T-1000 dressed as a cop, who you thought would have been a good guy. No, he's not. He's the main bad guy. And he's relentless and unwavering in his pursuit for Sarah Connor, for John Connor, and to destroy any Terminators in his way if needs to be. They probably saw the Arnold character as, in this case, they probably saw him as a traitor, but Arnold's character was reprogrammed by John Connor in the future. So, number 11, Hans Gruber from Die Hard. The best Die Hard character there, the best Die Hard villain there is. I mean, Simon Gruber was very close, but Hans Gruber stays to me the best of the whole bunch. I mean, he can be charming. At first, he thinks he's an activist, but found out later on he has nothing to do with activism. All he wants to do is the money. All he wants is the money, and he's not afraid to get rid of any hostage that would prevent him from achieving his goals. So, that's number 11. Now we're going to top 10. Number 10, Thanos from Avengers Infinity War. Why Thanos from Infinity War, not Thanos from Endgame? First of all, it's on the same Thanos. And second, Thanos actually achieved his goal at the end of Infinity War. He wanted basically half the population of any inhabitants of any race to disappear, so the other half would get all the resources. He viewed himself as a person who saved the universe by getting rid of half of them. And he justifies it as a good action in his mind. To him, it's the only solution. A lot of those characters are the greatest bad guys I've noticed. They think they're the good guy, but in reality, they're not. So the ways it goes about it, the monstrous ways it goes about to justify his self-righteous ways, makes him the number 10 bad guy in my opinion. Number 9, Frank Costello from The Departed. Again, Jack Nicholson knows how to play a great bad guy. You gotta give him that. I mean, he's a psychotic mobster, and but at the same time befriends, is able to befriend, like basically still acts as a father figure to one of the moles in the FBI. So the way he plays it, I mean, it's more complex than I mentioned, but it's very intriguing there. So number 9, Frank Costello in Departed. Number 8, the Emperor Palpatine. Emperor Palpatine from Return of the Jedi. Not any other movie, Return of the Jedi. Sure as hell not Rise of Skywalker. Why? Because in Return of the Jedi, you could see why somebody would turn to the dark side. He was able to manipulate Darth Vader. Darth Vader was the baddest of the bad. And Emperor Palpatine was able to basically control him. That says something. He even tempted Luke from him. Luke didn't give in, but he still tempted. He was enough to basically tempt us. And he's very powerful. He's shown to be more powerful than Luke, could be more powerful than Darth Vader. Together, they got rid of that problem, but basically, by himself, they couldn't get rid of it. So, yeah. Let's go to number 7, Hans Landa from Inglourious Basterds. That's the title of the movie, by the way. So, why do I put in my top 10 list? Because here's a guy who, in my opinion, already there, I'm going to spoil it, I think is the best Quentin Tarantino bad guy ever, right now. Here's a guy who's very intelligent, very smart, eloquent, knows 4 languages, and can speak of them basically fluently like any person from those, for basically like he can speak French, can speak German, can speak English, can speak Italian, like somebody who basically his native tongue is those languages. He's cold, calculated, but never loses cool, or very rarely. And if he does, like for a split second, you don't see it happening. You don't see it, you don't see it coming. So Christoph Waltz plays it. It's an outstanding performance by Christoph Waltz. And again, he won an Academy winner. He was the 2009 Best Supporting Actor for a reason. He's the most intriguing character of the movie. Yes, Brad Pitt as Aldo Rain was very cool, but it's Brad Pitt. He often plays a cool part. We're used to that, but Christoph Waltz is this. And the funniest part is the next Quentin Tarantino movie that he does, Christoph Waltz plays a good guy in Dr. Schultz and win another Best Supporting Actor trophy for that. But in my opinion, I prefer Hans Landa is the best bad guy in a Quentin Tarantino movie ever. So let's go to number 6, Tommy DeVito from Goodfellas. If you've seen Goodfellas, you know why I say that. Like Joe Pesci plays him basically as a, like he could be cool, could be funny, and then the next second he's a psychopathic killer. I mean, to me, that's the best Joe Pesci performance ever. Period. Home Alone, Casino, Raging Bull, all great performance, but nothing beats that. So, yeah. Number 5, Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs. Sir Anthony Hopkins played it excellently. And I find it funny that for everybody saying he's the bad guy, he's not the main bad guy of the movie. He's like the bad guy in the background who helps the good guy. But while she takes care of the main bad guy, she forgets about him. I mean, what's there not to be afraid of? He's a doctor, a psychiatrist who's also well versed into medicine. He's a cannibal, by the way. And he actually, yes, Clarice wins at the end, but so does he. He still gets away. The way he gets away with it is very frightening. Say that. Now we're getting to top 4. 4, it's a tie. It's Sauron from Fellowship of the Ring and Gollum from Return of the King. Because in Fellowship of the Ring, you can see it was more focused on the power of the ring and the seductive power of the ring, and I thought it was very, very important. I mean, people like Boromir met his fate, basically had to redeem himself, and basically one of the reasons why he gave his life was to redeem himself because he felt weak in terms of turning away the power of the ring. He couldn't do it until at the end, where basically he sacrificed himself to save the hobbits' lives. I mean, Frodo gave in that power. Everybody in the first one, it felt like everybody, a lot of people, maybe apart from maybe Gandalf or Aragorn, were turning away the power of the ring, but everybody else felt very tempted. I felt that was a bad. Think about this: the bad guy of the first movie is basically a ring, and it's credible. In the third movie, I'm not trying to say that the seductive power of the ring went away. However, I felt like it was more the focus of Gollum. If it was more Gollum was doing everything under his power to make sure that Frodo and Sam would not reach Mount Doom. And he was very disturbing. The last standoff between Frodo and Gollum was beyond disturbing. Okay, so now we're in the top three. Number three, I think we all know Darth Vader. Not number one or two. Oh, calm down. I mean, number three is very good still, okay? So, and Darth Vader from Empire Strikes Back. Why? Well, in that movie, like I say, it was very bad, but at the same time, when you say that it's very bad, it's do I need to really need to explain? He destroyed a planet. He manipulated Lando into betraying his best friend. We're going to be carbonated. He chopped off Luke Skywalker's hand and revealed that he was his father, and that he wants him to join him to the dark side. Everything in that movie led up to the dark side winning. That movie, the Sith won. And I think I think to date is the only Star Wars movie when the Sith won. Sure, there was hope at the end of the movie, but it's like still. The only thing that Darth Vader did not get is getting his son to his side. That's it. Everything else he won. So that's number three. Number two, Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Think about it. She's a nurse who's in charge of a mental hospital or mental ward of patients. And you think she's trying to help them. No, she's trying to manipulate them. So the mental patient will come in there expecting to get better. It actually got worse because they feel helpless without her. They feel dependent on her. And they're getting manipulated for them. It's not and in that case, I mean, what could they say? I mean, she will use psychology to try to manipulate patients to do what she wants them to do, sorry, and for them to maintain her vision of order, which reality is not order, it's control. She wants them to use them as what can further control them. I mean, Billy in that movie, I mean, the only time he didn't stammer was when he didn't feel her control until she psychologically intimidated him. I mean, Randall Patrick McMurphy, also played by Jack Nicholson, wasn't the greatest of guys, but he showed the other patient what kind of person she truly is. Again, a fantastic movie, the best movie about the mental institution ever. So watch if you do, and read the book as well. One of my favorite book as well. And number one, best bad guy of all time. My favorite bad guy, my top bad guy of all time is Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight. Was there any surprise? Anybody who knows me knows it was. Okay, he's a chaotic. He's about anarchy. He's very chaotic. He's an agent of chaos. He's very charismatic and hypnotic. Every scene you see him, like you're stuck on him. You're watching all the little different mannerisms he does, the little gestures. It's like he's beyond convincing. Especially, he's beyond convincing when somebody's vulnerable, feeling vulnerable. Like in comic, the Killing Joke says, all it takes is one bad day for somebody to end up like me. I'm paraphrasing what the Joker said, basically. All it takes is one bad day for somebody to become like the Joker. Okay, and he was always one step ahead. Always one step ahead. He basically won just about every point, everything there is at the like he was able to corrupt Harvey Dent. He was able to blow up Rachel, which is still seen in the movie theaters. I usually, oh, he actually did it. Like in movies, you expect, okay, he's gonna rescue the love interest. No, they weren't able to. He was able to fool the mob. He was able to fool everybody. And at the end, yeah, he got arrested, but he still kind of won. He got the mental victory. He got a psychological victory at the end. And the fact that I love is mysterious is absolute evil. He's not relative evil. We don't know his past. I don't want to know his past. Because then if you knew his past, he's becoming a bit of a sympathetic figure. And I didn't want that. And Heath Ledger played it to perfection. And again, another Oscar winner, 2008 Best Supporting Actor. And to me, it's like, was there any other choice that year? I've seen the other candidates, and great as this, there was Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder, but and Richard Jenkins as well from The Visitor. But to me, it's still Heath Ledger. It's Heath Ledger, and for him not to be a central part of a Batman movie, but the central part of not just the best Batman movie, but one of the best movies of all time, cements him as my top bad guy ever. So I know there's some other bad guys I probably forgot or didn't mention, but that's why you can mention it in the comments below. And by the way, just the last thing about Dark Knight. To this day, I still think it's a ripoff that didn't win the 2008 Best Picture, the Oscars. I know the old crusty person in charge of the committee of the Oscar committee didn't want a superhero movie to win. But what's the other alternative? Nothing in Slumdog Millionaire was very good, but no way does it beat Dark Knight. Dark Knight should have been Best Picture. Screw the reader. Nobody watched this. Oh, and Wally should have been nominated as well. But again, I'm going to go to tangent. So, enjoy if you like, subscribe, and next video will be about the top trilogies, or it might be about the top movies that top series of movies that could have been great trilogies, but they fumbled. Okay? So, on that note, have a great day. See you later.